Hello, everyone. My name is Shelby. It's good to see some familiar faces out there. I've been here at the hospital for over 18 years, so I've come across a lot of you in the past. So tonight, not only are we going to talk about making your home safer, but how you can prevent falls by doing things like exercise and things like that. At the end, if you want, I have put in the back on your way out, there's a home exercise program and some resistive bands if anybody wants to take some home. Okay. So what is balance? Balance is a combination of things. It has to do with your vision. That plays a role. It has to do with your inner ear, your vestibular system. And it also has to do with your musculoskeletal system. So strength and posture. So you may ask yourself, am I at risk for falls? So some important factors in if you are at risk. If you've had any previous falls, that makes you at risk for another fall. If you take more than 4 medications per day, they don't necessarily specify which medications, but medications have interactions and can make you lightheaded and things like that. So that's something to look at if you take more than 4 a day. A fear of falling. So once someone has fallen, then they're very afraid to fall again. And sometimes that fear and anxiety makes you move in more of a fearful pattern that then sets you up for risk for another fall. Weakness or difficulty walking. If you have vertigo, so if you have that spinning sensation when you roll over in bed or when you sit upright, that can put you at risk for falls. Depression can actually put you at risk for falls. And that's because when we're depressed, we may lay in bed more, so that atrophies your muscles. And then we eat poorly when we're depressed. And poor nutrition leads to wasting away of your muscles, makes you weaker, makes you more at risk for falls. So that's important if you're feeling depressed to speak to your primary care physician and address that. So then the poor nutrition, which I just mentioned, and poor posture actually puts you at risk for falls, because if you're already in a kind of forward posture, now your center is forward and it takes less to tip you over forward, okay? So, and some of these things, I mention them because these are things that we can work on and we can improve to prevent you from falling. So some things that you can think about and try at home. These are things that a physical therapist might do with you when you're in the clinic to see if you're at risk for falls. But this is something that you can just try on your own at home. Can I get up from a chair without using my hands? And we should be able to do it close to 5 times in 15 seconds. And if you can't, then that makes you an increased fall risk. So you can always try that at home. You can sit at the edge of your chair and see, without using my hands, can I get up and down 5 times? Can I stand on one leg for 5 seconds? Okay, and if you're unable to do that, or that's really difficult for you, that could mean that you're at increased risk for falling. Can I balance while closing my eyes? So vision is a big thing, part of balance. And we'll talk about that when we're talking about how to make your home safe. So if you close your eyes and you immediately fall backwards, it means you're relying on a lot of eyesight to keep you upright, okay? Can I step backwards without losing my balance? We're all pretty good about walking forward. We do that every day, but does this throw you off? And if it does, you're at a higher risk for falls. So these are things that you can just kind of practice on your own at home. I would recommend practice them with a sturdy chair, not one of these rolling ones, but a sturdy chair behind you or a sturdy chair right in front of you that you can grab, okay, when you go to practice these at home to see, well, am I at risk for falls? Okay, so one thing that we can affect, your environment. We can make the home as safe as it possibly can be, okay? So make sure you have sturdy handrails on your stairs and consider getting a handrail on both sides of the stairs, which makes it even easier and safer. Consider putting non-slip treads on your stairs. Install grab bars in your bathroom, right around the tub, right around the toilet. You can also purchase a raised toilet seat that has arms, I would suggest, because they do have the kind that just clip on is just a seat, but the ones with the arms are best because then you can ease yourself down, push yourself up safer. Have illuminated, you may want a bench in your tub or shower, okay? And then you can, if that is a place that really makes you nervous, you can have a seat, you can have one of the handheld things that come down and shower yourself off in seated position, okay? Illuminated light switches. So we talked about vision, darkness. Nighttime, getting up to go to the bathroom is one of the biggest times that people fall. So if your light switch is one of the illuminated kinds, then you can see, okay, I'm not fumbling for my light switch. There it is. I can flip it on. And have a clear pathway to your light switch. So try to pick up the clutter on the floor. Make sure there's a nice clear path from you to flipping on that light switch. Make sure there's night lights and good lighting on your path to the bathroom at night. And also suggest turn the lights on before going up and down the stairs. So don't be trying to do your stairs in the dark because you're moving quickly, okay? Not thinking about it, all right? Because that vision really does play a role in your balance and being able to see things clearly. Okay, continued. So proper footwear. So, I mean, it sounds silly. Make sure that the correct size and they fit your feet properly, but it's not silly because some people, they have swelling that fluctuates throughout the day. And maybe at the end of the day, their feet just can't fit into their slippers like they could in the morning. So you have to be really careful of that. If you're wearing your slippers with your feet hanging off the ends of them and just kind of shuffling around to try to keep your feet in the slippers, you're much more likely to fall. So good footwear is important, okay? Maybe something with like adjustable Velcro straps so that like at the end of the day when your swelling is really bad, you can still fit into them. Pick up any scatter rugs, okay? That's a big trip hazard, is scatter rugs on the floor. Make sure there's no wires in your pathway, phone cord or electrical cords. Have a non-slip mat on the outside and on the inside of your bathtub. Keep most frequently used items at waist level in the kitchen and in the bathroom. So if you're more at a risk for a fall, if you can keep all of your frequently used items right around waist level on the countertop, then you're not going to be worried about you're reaching up into the cabinet to try to get something and you're going to lose your balance or you're doing a lot of low squatting. And then also be careful if you wear bifocals or progressive lenses, okay? So now these next two slides are everything I talked about, but just in picture form. So they've taken the throw rug off the floor, maybe an extra pillow in the chair to ease getting up out of the chair. Keep your items within arm's reach. I also recommend you have your cell phone in your pocket so that you're not running to answer the phone. Okay, watch out for small pets because they can get under your feet. And then the picture of how to set up your bathroom. So raised toilet seat with some arms, maybe a tub bench, got a nice grab bar on the shower, all right, and some rubber backed mats so that you don't slip getting in and out of the tub. So what can I do to decrease my risk of falling? So not only can we make our environment safer, but nutrition is important because The better muscle mass you have, the less likely you are to fall, all right? So what's important for muscles is protein, and as well as just having a balanced diet of fruits, veggies, complex carbs, and low-fat dairy. So nutrition is important because decreased appetite, depression, dental issues, decreased food intake, all leads to a loss of muscle and atrophy, and can also cause dizziness and blood sugars to be off. So the RDA recommends for seniors 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So what does that mean? So 55 grams of protein if you're about 150 pounds, 65 grams of protein if you're about 180 pounds. Okay. So protein is important. It's an important building block for maintaining your muscle. And some good sources of protein I've listed here: fish, chicken, lean ground beef, turkey, eggs, Greek yogurt, lentils, milk, cottage cheese. You can use a protein powder or shake, black beans, oats, quinoa, pistachios, hemp, chia, or flaxseed, almonds, and soy. So what else can I do to decrease my risk? And that's where the physical therapist comes in, right? We're always making you guys exercise. So exercise, you can work on your posture, you can work on your strength, and you can do specific balance activities, balance exercises. So posture. So increased trunk flexion correlates with an increased fall risk. Okay, so we want to work on nice and upright, over our center of gravity. The other thing to help with that is you can strengthen your back muscle and improve your flexibility. Okay, so I put a couple pictures in here. I also have pictures in the home exercise program. So the top one, she has a resistive band and she's just pulling her elbows back and squeezing her shoulder blades together. Because the more you can improve that flexibility in that direction, the more it will take you out of this posture. And then the doorway stretch. So you're in a doorway, put your arms up, and you kind of step through the doorway and just stretch these shoulders back, kind of reverse that curve that we all tend to get into during the day. I also have, not on here, but on the home exercise program, you can also work on your wall posture. So you can literally stand up against the wall and just work on pulling your head back, okay, and having it touch the wall. So people with weakness or gait instability are 4 times more likely to fall, but this can be prevented and changed with strengthening exercises. So I also have in the home exercise program some strengthening things that you can do, some easy stuff at home. One thing that's important is your ankle strength. So your first balance reaction to kick in actually occurs at your ankles. So as you first start to tip backwards or tip forwards, your feet, your ankles is actually what kicks in to catch you. And that's something that weakens over time as we get older. So I have just easy things that you're holding onto the back of a chair and you're lifting up your toes, or you're doing your heel raises, okay? So I put a picture of that in the home exercise program. The next most important thing to strengthen is your hips. So your ankles are your first reaction, but if your ankles don't kick in and you start to fall, then it's the hip, okay? So you've got to have those hips nice and strong so that they can have that quick reaction to catch you, all right? And so I also put some things in to help with that. You can hold on to your chair and you can just do some mini squats, okay? Or you can do some kicks to the side, things like that to strengthen your hip muscles. You can also practice getting out of that chair without using your hands and just making your legs do it. Okay, so what I just talked about, standing, heel and toe raises, holding on to that sturdy chair, squats. You can also do a wall squat where you lean against the wall with your feet out a little bit and you just slide your back up and down the wall. Or, like I said, holding onto a sturdy chair. You can also do an ankle pump with some resistance. I have some bands in the back with little loops. So you can put the loop around your toes and you can hang on to it and you can do your ankle pumps with some resistance. Also, if people have ankle weights at home, you can put your ankle weight around your forefoot and do your ankle pumps. And the standing side kick. And you can be careful because I don't want anyone to trip, but you can also wrap your resistive band around your knees in sitting and then stand up and do your side kicks with some resistance. And then sit back down to take off your band, okay, so you don't fall. How can we challenge our balance at home? There's lots of things you can do to challenge your balance. You can try walking while holding a cup of water. They also, in the literature, they also say, challenge your mind while you're walking, because when are we going to fall? When we're distracted, right? So they say, walk while listing out, something you know how to do. How do I bake a pie? How do I change a tire? So you're walking around your house and you're saying, okay, first I need 1 cup of flour. I add my 2 eggs. You know, you're walking around while you're distracting yourself. You can also work on standing with your feet close together. Sometimes that's enough of a challenge for someone to work on just trying to hold that for 15 seconds. If it's too easy, you can add in a head turn. That will make it even more challenging. You can look up and down, or you can close your eyes, but please make sure you have a nice chair behind you, okay? You can also pretend you're standing inside a clock, and then you're gonna just do different steps to 1 o'clock, maybe to 6 o'clock, right? To 12 o'clock, and do it with both feet, random. All right, this is that balance reaction that you need at your hips. When you start to go, you need to be able to quickly step out to catch yourself, okay? So you can practice that at home. Stepping, that's what it means when it says stepping inside a clock. You're just kind of practicing, you know, go to 9 o'clock. And then I also gave you the resistive band so that you can try this next one. So what you would do, you'd shut your resistive band in the door, you would hang on to it, you're gonna step out away from the door, and then you gotta slowly step back because that band is gonna start trying to pull you backwards and you're resisting it as you slowly step back and then back out against the resistance, and then you have to control it back again. That will work both your core and your balance. And also, you could join a local Tai Chi class. Tai Chi is, they've found really great for your balance. It's great for arthritis and for balance. It's very slow movements, and it's really great at working on your strength in your legs and your balance. I would highly recommend that. Okay, what do I do if I do fall? So I wanted to include this slide because it may happen, okay? So what should I do? And then I'm gonna actually forward to I do say, try to keep your cell phone in your pocket, okay? Because then you have it on you in case you have to call for help, or if you are someone that is a high risk for falls, you might wanna get your life alert necklace. I'm gonna fast forward to this next slide because it shows it better in a picture form. Okay, so what happens if I do fall? Okay, I'm gonna try to roll onto your side and then onto your hands and knees. And then you're gonna crawl to the sturdiest chair or coffee table, sturdy, all right? Then you're gonna try to, in your kneeling position, 1 foot in front of you and try to push up, okay? And then get yourself into standing and then sit down and make sure you feel okay, all right? So I wanted to include that slide too, just in case you get yourself in that situation. What's the best way to try to get up? Okay. Questions and answers.
So if anyone has any, yep, go for it.
Okay, so an ankle brace. If you have pain that you need an ankle brace for support, that's okay. But you actually wearing a brace would not help making something stronger. It actually makes the joint you have it around a little bit weaker because you're not using your muscles anymore. You're relying on that external thing. It's sort of the same for a back brace. So if you do truly need it for, you have to because it's painful unless you wear it, that could, if you're wearing it all the time, you could get weaker in your core. Mhm.
What else? Question?
Anybody online type anything?
If anyone's participating virtually and has questions, feel free to type your question in the Q&A section on Zoom.
Yes.
It's not a question, but a suggestion. Mentioned lighting to help with visibility. There are motion sensor lights you can put in your outlets that when you pass by them, they come on.
Oh, excellent. I didn't know about that. That's great. So she was saying, in case people need to be able to hear virtually, there are motion sensor lights and it's just something you plug into. Yeah. Yes.
Because my vestibular nerves are destroyed, I rely more than most people on vision
Yes.
for balance and have very poor balance. So when you're relying really on your vision for balance and on the feeling in your feet and your ankles, is there any of these exercises particularly good for that?
Yeah, definitely. Working on the ankle exercises to keep those strong. And I would do your strengthening exercises to keep your legs strong. There are eye exercises. So you work on standing with a sturdy chair behind you, have one thumb out, and you work on staring at your thumb as you turn your head. So it works actually both on your vestibular and your eyes at the same time. And then you can also do two thumbs out and you try to quickly look from thumb to thumb while you're doing like a balance activity. So if feet together is too easy for you, then you would put one foot in front, make it a little more challenging for you and work on that.
Okay, thanks.
But definitely if you focus on trying to get your legs as strong as possible and your balance reactions as good as possible to make up for the lack of the vestibular.
Any other questions for Shelby? Now's the time. Okay. It looks like we don't have anyone online. Oh, we have a question from the back.
Whatever you
Is there a way to fall when you are about to fall? I know certain, I think karate, there's a technique that if you want to fall, if you don't want to fall,
Right.
you are about to fall.
It's hard because
instead of hand.
Right.
My grandmother injured her.
Yes, if you stick your arm out, you could fracture your wrist or your elbow if you stick your arm out. I grew up doing, gymnastics and they try to teach you to kind of roll in a ball, sort of thing. But it's hard to say because it happens so quick to people that it's you just stub your toe and you just go. So it's really hard to say, can you teach a way to fall? That's tough. Yeah. It does happen sometimes. If you fall on an outstretched arm, you may break your wrist.
And when my my grandson was very little, he was, there was a hill there and he was running. And my daughter told him, I forgot he said, she said, wait a minute, sit down.
Yeah.
So he was running.
Right. So maybe just to try to quickly sit down on your butt.
sat
Yeah,
and so. You know,
Yeah.
He didn't,
yeah, right. I know, it's tough. Yes, you could try to just, try to sit down, or they say tuck and roll, but I mean, if you're already going forward, it's hard to kind of think of that in the seconds that it happens, but
I have a question about these bands.
yes,
So one exercise was you said you put it through the door, like.
yes, so
Close the door.
you close this, so you put it, sorry for the people virtually, because I'm gonna go off screen for a second. You put it around the doorknob on the other side of the door. This is locked.
Okay,
You put it around the doorknob and then you shut the door. So it's coming through the door this way.
oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Or you can just put it around a pole too. If you have like a banister or a pole, you can do it that way as well.
Oh, we have one from the back.
Yes.
When I tried to have grab bars put into the shower,
Yeah.
I was able to get one grab bar at the door to help me get in and out. But I couldn't mount one inside the shower because there was nothing solid behind the enclosure.
Yep.
Would it do any good to have it
Anchor it.
like just above the enclosure and mount it into the wall there?
If you can reach it, if
I
it's
mean, a
gonna,
spot like that.
yeah, if it's gonna help to stabilize you, yeah. Or if you started to go, I think you'd be able to reach that as long as it wasn't too high. But that also brings up a good thought. Some people will try the suction cup ones, but I wouldn't recommend it because they can release on you all of a sudden.
That wouldn't work either.
Yeah,
There's nothing in the enclosure
Yeah.
that's solid.
yeah. I would think if you can reach it, it's better than nothing,
Anyone else? Questions for Shelby?
I also thought of something after I had made the presentation. It just came to my mind now. Also, I didn't mention in what could make you a fall risk if anybody is on chemo. So the chemo can definitely, it affects the nerves in the legs, and you can get neuropathy and weakness from the chemo. But they have shown that doing physical therapy and doing exercises can reverse maybe not necessarily all of the neuropathy, the sensation, but it can strengthen your legs even when you're going through chemo.
Well, thank you, Shelby. I hope everyone enjoyed the
Thank you.
presentation,
Thank you.
and please be careful leaving.